The moment my 8-year-old daughter asked me whether she was special enough to deserve a birthday cake, I knew I had protected the wrong piece for too long. Her name was Lily. She was standing beside the kitchen trash can in my mother's house, wearing a pink cardigan with a paper crown sliding crookedly over her curls. Inside the trash bag was the cake I had ordered for her 8th birthday. Vanilla sponge, strawberry filling, white frosting, tiny sugared daisies around the edge because Lily loved flowers. It was upside down in coffee grounds and wet paper towels. My brother had thrown it away. Not because it fell, not because it was spoiled, because he said my daughter's birthday was distracting everyone from his wedding plans. He stood across the kitchen in an expensive shirt he had not paid for, holding a glass of champagne and looking annoyed that anyone expected him to apologize. "It was just dessert," he said. My mother touched my arm and whispered, "Emily, please don't make a scene." For 33 years, that sentence had been the lock on my mouth. Please don't make a scene. Please help your brother. Please be the bigger person. Please keep the family together. But my daughter was looking at me with tears in her eyes. And suddenly, keeping the peace felt like teaching her that her pain was the price of everyone else's comfort. So I looked at my brother and said, "No, this time you don't get to walk away clean." My name is Emily Carter. I am an event planner. And the day my brother threw away my daughter's birthday cake was the day I finally stopped cleaning up his messes. In my family, my brother Nathan was not simply loved. He was managed like a fragile investment. Every failure had a reason. Every lie had context. Every unpaid bill had an explanation that somehow became someone else's responsibility. If Nathan missed school, he was overwhelmed. If I missed school, I was careless. If Nathan yelled, he was under pressure. If I cried, I was dramatic. If Nathan broke something, my mother said boys could be rough. If I asked why I had to help replace it, she said girls needed to learn grace. Grace. That word did more damage in our house than anger ever did. Anger at least told the truth about itself. Grace came dressed like virtue while quietly handing me the broom. My mother, Helen Carter, was not a villain in the obvious way. She did not shout often. She did not slam doors. She did not say she preferred my brother. She simply built a world where his comfort mattered first, and then acted surprised when I noticed. My father left when we were teenagers, and after that, Nathan became the son who had been abandoned, and I became the daughter who was expected to understand. Understanding became my job. Nathan failed math. "Emily, help him study." Nathan forgot Mom's birthday. "Emily, sign the card from both of you." Nathan crashed the car. "Emily, don't upset your mother by asking too many questions." By the time I was 20, I could recognize a family crisis by the way my mother said my name. Softly, carefully, like she was placing another debt into my hands. I became an event planner because events were the first place where chaos obeyed me. A wedding had timelines. A charity gala had vendor sheets. A conference had room maps, delivery windows, emergency contacts, power requirements, dietary notes, insurance documents, and signatures. Nothing had to be guessed. Everything could be confirmed. That was freedom to me. I founded Emily Carter Events when Lily was 2. Her father was not in our lives by then. He sent money when it was convenient and affection when he wanted to feel kind. So I built my company around nap schedules, daycare pickups, late-night proposals, and early morning client calls with a toddler eating cereal beside my laptop. It was hard, but it was honest. My contracts were clean. My deposits were tracked. My vendors trusted me because I never promised money I did not have. By 33, I had coordinated corporate retreats, boutique weddings, nonprofit fundraisers, product launches, and private dinners for people who expected perfection and paid for precision. My name meant something in the local events world. Not celebrity, not glamour, reliability. That was the reputation I had built, one invoice, one floor plan, one corrected disaster at a time. Nathan knew that, which meant, of course, he saw it as something available to him. Nathan got engaged to Olivia Hart in early spring. Olivia was kind in a polished way, a little reserved, very organized. The sort of woman who had emergency stain wipes in her purse and asked thoughtful questions before trusting anyone. I liked her immediately. I also wondered how much Nathan had told her. At the engagement dinner, he lifted Olivia's hand like he had personally invented love. My mother cried. Olivia's parents smiled with cautious warmth. Lily whispered that Olivia looked like a princess. Nathan announced that the wedding would be at the Meridian Hall, the most expensive private venue in the county. My first thought was simple. He cannot afford that. My second thought was worse. He knows he cannot afford that. After dinner, he cornered me near the coat closet. He said, using the childhood nickname I hated because he only used it when he wanted something. I need your vendor list. For what? For the wedding, I said. Nathan, I can recommend people, but I'm not coordinating your wedding for free. He laughed like I had made a joke. Come on, you'd really charge your own brother? I looked toward the dining room where Lily was showing Olivia a drawing. Yes, I said, because my work is still work. His smile thinned, but he let it go. At least I thought he did. For the next 2 months, Nathan sent messages asking for tiny favors. Could I review a venue clause? Could I send a sample deposit schedule? Could I show him what a standard planning agreement looked like? Could I explain how liability insurance worked? I answered some questions because Olivia deserved not to walk blind into disaster. But every email I sent had one clear line. For reference only, Emily Carter Events is not contracted for this wedding and assumes no legal or financial responsibility. I put it in writing because I had spent a lifetime learning that Nathan treated kindness like a blank check. My mother said I was being cold. He is your brother, I said. Exactly, I know him. She sighed. Nathan has always needed more help. I wanted to ask why needing more had somehow become deserving more. Instead, I said, I have Lily to think about. My mother's face softened, but not enough. Of course, she said. But Lily is a child. She won't understand if a wedding becomes stressful. That sentence stayed with me. Because my mother was right about one thing. Lily was a child, which meant she should not have been expected to make room for Nathan's failures. The cake incident happened during what was supposed to be a combined family lunch. Lily's birthday was on Saturday. Nathan and Olivia had a wedding planning meeting with both families the same afternoon. My mother suggested combining everything at her house. We can celebrate Lily first, she said, then discuss wedding details. I should have refused. I know that now. But Lily loved my mother's sunroom. She loved Olivia. And she had spent all week practicing how to blow out candles without spitting on the frosting. So I brought balloons, a small gift bag, and the daisy cake. For the first hour, it almost worked. Lily opened a watercolor set from Olivia. She hugged my mother. Even Nathan smiled for a photograph, though he checked his phone immediately after. Then Olivia's mother asked about the venue balance. Nathan's shoulders tightened. He said he had it handled. I knew that tone. It meant nothing was handled. While the adults moved into the dining room, Lily asked me when we would cut the cake. I told her after one more conversation. 10 minutes later, she walked into the kitchen. Then she screamed. The sound tore through the house. I ran first. Lily was standing by the trash can with one hand over her mouth. The lid was open. The cake box was inside, crushed sideways, frosting smeared against black plastic. The candles were scattered on top like tiny broken promises. For a second, I could not understand what I was seeing. Then Nathan walked in behind me. He did not look guilty. He looked inconvenienced. I turned slowly. What happened? He shrugged. It was taking up the counter. And honestly, this is supposed to be a wedding planning lunch. Lily began crying harder. Olivia appeared in the doorway. Her face went pale. My mother said, "Nathan, why would you do that?" But her voice was soft. Too soft. Nathan rolled his eyes. "It is a cake. She is 8. She'll forget by next week." Then he looked at Lily. "Besides, not every little thing has to be about you." The room stopped. Lily looked smaller than I had ever seen her. She whispered, "Mommy, am I special?" That was the moment. Not the cake. Not the insult. That question. Because my daughter had just asked me whether she deserved to be celebrated. My mother touched my sleeve. "Emily, please don't make a scene." Something in me went very still. I looked at her hand on my arm. How many times had that hand stopped me from speaking? When Nathan stole money from my purse in high school and she said he was embarrassed enough. When he missed my graduation lunch and she said he felt bad already. When he borrowed my car and returned it with an empty tank, a dented bumper, and a story that changed 3 times. Please don't make a scene. The family version of a gag order. I removed her hand. Then I knelt in front of Lily. "You are special," I said. "You were special before the cake. You are special after the cake. What he did was wrong." Nathan groaned. "Oh my God, Emily, don't turn this into trauma." I stood. My voice surprised me because it did not shake. "You threw a child's birthday cake in the trash because you were jealous of an 8-year-old. Olivia stared at him. "Is that true?" Nathan laughed once. She was making everything about herself. Olivia looked at Lily, then at the trash, then back at Nathan. For the first time, I saw doubt enter her face and stay there. We left 5 minutes later. Lily cried in the car all the way home. Not loudly. That would have been easier. She cried in quiet, exhausted waves, holding the watercolor set Olivia had given her like it was the only part of the day that had survived. At a red light, she asked, "Did Uncle Nathan hate my cake or me?" I had to grip the steering wheel. This is what people like Nathan never understand. Cruelty does not land where you aim it. It spreads. It stains the nearest innocent person. I told Lily, "He was wrong. His wrongness is not your fault." She nodded, but I could tell she was filing it somewhere deep. Children do that. They turn adult failures into private questions. That night, after I made pancakes with candles because it was the only dessert I could improvise, Lily fell asleep in my bed. I sat beside her in the dark and checked my email. There was a message from the Meridian Hall. Subject line, "Final balance and guarantee confirmation." I opened it, and my stomach turned cold. The email was addressed to Emily Carter Events. Not to Nathan. Not to Olivia. To my business. It thanked me for serving as the professional coordinator and financial guarantor for the Reynolds Hart wedding. Reynolds was Nathan's last name through our father. Hart was Olivia's. The final balance was due in 72 hours. $46,000? If not paid, the venue would pursue the guarantor listed in the contract. Me. For a long moment, I could not move. Then the professional part of my brain took over. I downloaded the attachment. The contract had my business name, my license number, my old office address, my standard planning language copied from a sample document I had sent Nathan for reference. And at the bottom was my signature, except I had not signed it. My brother had forged my name. The signature was close enough to fool someone in a hurry, but not close enough to fool me. The loop in the E was wrong. The pressure changed halfway through Carter. The slant was copied, not natural. I knew because I had spent years signing vendor contracts at midnight. My signature was muscle memory. Nathan had turned it into a weapon. I did not call him first. That was the old Emily. The old Emily would have called, yelled, listened to excuses, been pulled into emotion, and somehow ended the night being asked what she could do to help. The new Emily opened a folder. I saved the email, the contract, the metadata, the sample documents I had previously sent him, the message where I wrote, for reference only. Then I sent one email to Elise Morgan, the venue manager. I wrote, Emily Carter. Events is not contracted for the Reynolds Hart wedding. I did not sign the attached agreement. I did not authorize the use of my business name, license number, or professional materials. Please preserve all communications, payment records, IP logs, and submitted documents related to this booking. I attached my driver's license, business registration, and a copy of my real signature. Then I called my attorney. Only after that did I call Nathan. He answered on the second ring. What now? I said. You forged my signature. Silence. There it was again. The pause where fraud enters the room. Then he said, Don't be dramatic, it's just a formality. A formality? That was Nathan's word for anything that created consequences for someone else. I said, You listed my company as guarantor for $46,000. He sighed. I was going to pay it after the wedding. With what money? Gifts, Olivia's family, things come in. I closed my eyes. He had planned to use wedding gifts to cover a venue debt he had lied about. Not a mistake. Not a misunderstanding. A plan. I asked, Does Olivia know? He snapped, Do not bring her into this. She is the bride. You are my sister. There it was. The family debt collector in one sentence? I said, Being your sister does not make my business your credit line. His voice dropped. If you ruin this wedding, Mom will never forgive you. I looked toward my bedroom where Lily was sleeping beside the stuffed rabbit she had brought to the birthday lunch. Then I said, If I save this wedding by lying, my daughter may never forgive me, and she shouldn't. I hung up. The next morning, my mother called 7 times before 9 a.m. I let every call go to voicemail. Her first message was confused. The second was anxious. The third was angry. By the fourth, she sounded like the mother I knew best. Emily, you know how Nathan gets when he is under pressure. Please do not destroy your brother over paperwork. Paperwork. I laughed once while standing in my kitchen. Not because anything was funny, because my entire profession existed because paperwork mattered. Paperwork built businesses, protected clients, defined responsibility, exposed lies. People who dismissed paperwork usually wanted someone else trapped inside it. At 10:30, Elise from the Meridian Hall called. Her voice was careful. Ms. Carter, I reviewed your email. We need an in-person meeting. I agree. We will ask Mr. Reynolds and Miss Hart to attend. Good. And the bride's parents? Good. There was a pause. Then she said, Do you want your mother there? I almost said no. Then I thought of Lily looking into the trash. Yes, I said. She needs to hear it too. The meeting took place in the Meridian Hall's private consultation room. It was the kind of room designed to make expensive decisions feel calm. Cream walls, gold sconces, a long walnut table, fresh flowers arranged in a vase that probably cost more than Lily's birthday cake. Elise sat at the head with a folder. Olivia sat beside her parents. Her face was pale but steady. Nathan arrived late. Of course he did. My mother came behind him, already looking at me like I had brought a storm into a room that would have stayed sunny if I had simply stayed quiet. I placed my documents on the table. Nathan looked at them and smirked. Wow, you made a whole presentation. I said, Yes. That was all. Elise began. We are here to determine whether Emily Carter Events is legally attached to this contract. Nathan said. This is ridiculous. Emily helped us. Olivia turned to him. You said she was coordinating everything. Nathan waved a hand. She gave advice, same thing. I opened my folder. No, I said, it is not. I showed the first email. For reference only. Then the second. For reference only. Then the sample planning agreement with watermarks across every page. Not for execution. Sample document. No authorization granted. Elise compared it to the submitted contract. The same clauses. The same formatting. The same footer Nathan had failed to remove completely. Then I showed my real signature beside the forged one. Olivia covered her mouth. Her father leaned forward. Nathan said, Everyone is acting like I committed some kind of crime. Nobody answered immediately. That silence was different from my mother's silence. This one had weight. Elise said, Mr. Reynolds, submitting a forged professional guarantee is serious. Nathan's face reddened. I was going to pay, Olivia said. With what? He looked at her. The wedding gifts. Your parents said people in your family are generous. Olivia's mother gasped. Olivia went very still. For the first time in that room, Nathan looked afraid. Not ashamed. Afraid. There is a difference. My mother whispered, Nathan. He turned on me instead. You happy now? You got your little revenge over a cake? I felt something inside me flare. I had planned to keep Lily out of the meeting, but Nathan had brought her in. So I answered, This is not about cake. This is about the fact that you threw away an 8-year-old child's birthday cake because you thought her joy stole attention from you. Olivia's eyes snapped to him. What? Nathan muttered. It was stupid. I said. You told her she would forget by next week. You told her not every little thing had to be about her. Olivia stood slowly. Her voice was quiet. You said Emily overreacted. Nathan looked trapped. She did. Olivia said. You made a child cry on her birthday, lied about money, forged your sister's signature, and planned to use our wedding gifts to cover debt. Nathan said nothing. Then Olivia removed her engagement ring. The small sound it made against the table was quieter than a slap and far more final. The wedding collapsed in less than 10 minutes. Olivia canceled the ceremony. Her parents withdrew their support. Elise terminated the contract for misrepresentation and preserved the documents for legal review. Nathan shouted, then pleaded, then blamed me. That was his usual order. Volume first. Victimhood second. Accountability never. My mother cried. Not for Lily. Not for Olivia. Not for the reputation my brother had tried to attach to my business like a weight around its neck. She cried because the illusion of family harmony had finally become too expensive to maintain. In the parking lot, she grabbed my hand. Emily, please, he made a mistake. I looked at her. No, he made choices. Her face crumpled. He is my son, I said. Lily is my daughter. That was the first sentence I ever said to my mother that she could not step around. She let go of my hand. And for once, I did not reach back. The legal aftermath was quieter than the emotional one. My attorney sent a formal denial of liability to the Meridian Hall. Nathan, Olivia, and all involved parties. Emily Carter Events was removed from the contract. The venue reserved its rights against Nathan. Olivia never went back to him. She sent Lily a birthday card 2 weeks later with a gift certificate to a pottery studio. Inside, she wrote, "You deserved your cake. I am sorry an adult forgot that." Lily read it 3 times. Then she asked if Olivia was still a princess. I said, maybe she is something better. What? Someone who tells the truth? Lily thought about that. Then she taped Olivia's card inside her closet door. The next Saturday, I threw Lily a second birthday party. No family adults who needed managing. No brother. No grandmother asking for peace before justice. Just Lily, her friends, a messy backyard, watercolor paints, pizza, and a new cake with daisies around the edge. When she blew out the candles, she looked at me first. I nodded. She smiled. That smile was the first real victory. There was one more thing I did not say in that parking lot. I wanted to tell my mother that every time she asked me to be calm, she had taught Nathan that my calm was his property. I wanted to tell her that every time she called my boundaries harsh, she made his entitlement sound like family tradition. I wanted to ask her how many times a daughter has to absorb the damage before the family admits she is not peacekeeping. She is disappearing. But I did not say it then. Not because it was untrue, because Lily was waiting in the car, swinging her feet above the floor mat and holding the watercolor set against her chest. I had spent my life explaining Nathan to adults. That day, I chose not to make my daughter wait while I explained myself again. On the drive home, Lily asked whether weddings always made people mean. I told her no. Weddings only showed what people brought into them. Kind people brought care. Honest people brought promises. Selfish people brought demands and called them love. She looked out the window for a long time. Then she said, I don't want a big wedding someday. I smiled even though my throat hurt. What do you want? She thought carefully. A cake nobody throws away. That sentence stayed with me longer than any legal email. Because children do not ask for complicated things. They ask for the adults around them to keep the simple things safe. A cake. A promise. A birthday. A name. A signature. Nathan had violated all of them. And for the first time, I was not going to help anyone pretend otherwise. The following week, I reviewed every policy in my company, not because Nathan had exposed weakness in my business, because he had reminded me that trust without documentation is not trust. It is risk wearing a familiar face. I added stronger verification rules. No contract could list Emily Carter events without a direct confirmation call from my office. No financial guarantee could be accepted without notarized authorization. No family referral would bypass standard procedure, especially family. My assistant, Priya, read the new policy and looked at me over her glasses. Do you want me to soften the language? I almost said yes out of habit. Then I heard Lily's voice. Am I special? No, I said. Make it clearer. That was how I knew I was changing. Not because I stopped hurting, but because I stopped translating my pain into language that made other people comfortable. My mother and I did not speak for 6 weeks. The silence hurt. I will not pretend it did not. Boundary does not mean absence of grief. Sometimes boundary is grief standing upright. During those 6 weeks, Nathan sent messages from 3 different numbers. You ruined my life. Olivia was manipulated. You always wanted to embarrass me. It was just a cake. It was just paperwork. You chose business over blood. I saved every message. Not because I wanted to use them, because documentation had become a language of self-respect. If he ever tried to rewrite the story, I would not argue from memory. I would open the folder. My mother finally came to my office on a rainy Wednesday. She looked older. Not in a satisfying way, in a human way. She stood near my desk and looked at the framed photo of Lily covered in frosting at her 2nd birthday. Then she said, I thought keeping peace was love. I waited. She swallowed. But I think I only kept Nathan comfortable. It was not enough to fix everything, but it was the first true thing she had said in years. Rebuilding with my mother was slow. I did not hand her immediate forgiveness like another chore. She had to learn Lily's boundaries too. No explaining Nathan. No asking Lily to forget. No inviting him near us without permission. No calling cruelty conflict. The first time she apologized to Lily, my daughter hid behind my chair. My mother knelt on the floor. I should have protected your birthday, she said. I am sorry I cared more about keeping adults calm than keeping you safe. Lily did not answer. That was allowed. Children should not be forced to comfort adults who failed them. My mother cried quietly. For once, I did not rush to manage her feelings. A month later, Lily invited her to the pottery studio. That was Lily's choice. Not mine. Not my mother's demand. Choice changes everything. Nathan never understood that. He thought family meant access. But family without respect is only proximity with better branding. A year after the canceled wedding, Emily Carter Events was stronger than ever. Not because the scandal helped me. It did not. For a while, I had to answer uncomfortable questions from vendors and clients. But every time I answered, I did it plainly. My signature was forged. I denied liability. I protected my business. Some people backed away. The right people stayed. One venue owner told me, I would trust you with any contract because you actually read them. I laughed. Then I cried in my car for 10 minutes. Because trust, when you have spent your life being called difficult for defending reality, feels like sunlight on bruises. Lily grew taller. She stopped asking if she was special. Instead, she began saying, that is not okay, in a clear voice when someone crossed a line at school. Her teacher told me she helped another child tell the truth when a classmate ruined his project. I sat in the car after pickup and held the steering wheel with both hands. For years, I thought my silence protected the family, but my voice protected my daughter. I know which one matters now. People ask whether I regret exposing Nathan. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that Olivia was hurt. I regret that Lily's birthday became the breaking point. I regret every year I mistook endurance for love. But I do not regret refusing to sign my name onto his lie. I do not regret letting the wedding fall under the weight of his choices. And I will never regret looking my daughter in the eye and showing her that truth is not rudeness. Nathan still says I destroyed his future. He is wrong. He built that future with forged signatures, unpaid bills, and cruelty toward a child. All I did was stop holding the ladder. My mother once believed peace meant everyone sitting at the same table no matter who was bleeding under it. Now I believe peace means no one has to bleed quietly to keep a chair. The day Nathan threw Lily's cake in the trash, he thought he was proving that her joy was small. He proved the opposite. He proved her joy was worth defending. He proved my name was worth protecting. He proved that boundaries do not break families. They reveal what was already broken. And sometimes, that revelation is the first honest thing a family has ever had.